Happy Friday. It is the 24th of July. Where I live, that happens to be a state holiday, so there will be lots of fireworks tonight. Um, we don't have any plans to have a barbecue. We had a bit of a gathering for the 4th of July with our family, so that was kind of fun. But anyway, I thought since this is the release week for the Sweet Kisses limited edition box set, that I would read a little bit of my contribution to that story. Now, a little background on this: the main character is Noah Kelly. If any of you have read any of my Billionaires of Wrecked series, Noah actually appears as a secondary character in two of the books. Luck of the Billionaire, that's where he actually is introduced and finds out that he's related to the gal who ends up marrying the billionaire in that book. But then he also comes along as an intern to help out with a bucket list charity they're looking at doing. And that one is Alas for the Billionaire. He's in the first part of that book. But I've wanted for a while to do a series called The Interns of Wrecked. I enjoy that world and the characters that are in it. These people are students. And if anybody's read very many of my books, you'll know that I like to pull characters from different stories. They're like, well, let me explain. So like in my first book, A Change of Plans, which I will be expanding and re-releasing here in the next couple of weeks, there's a secondary character who's planning to go to college, to go to med school. Well, when I did a novella for the Ripple Effect romance series, I had him have a cameo appearance, meaning all along that he would get his own story and that one of the characters in that book would be the love interest. Okay, and so he is actually, one of the billionaires, I should say, is he's Samantha's brother. She's the daughter of the professor in Second Chances 101. So that ripple effect romance. So I like to pull people along, and if I can find a way to mix them into the same world. They're all in the same contemporary time period, so I figure why not, right? But anyway, eventually I'll be leading, actually, not eventually, with this book, I will be tying in the people from A Savage Ghost into my Safe Harbors world via the Billionaires of Wrecked, since they have connections to the Safe Harbors world. One of the other interns that you'll meet in the story is the older brother from A Savage Ghost. So if you're thinking you've heard that name before, you have. All right. Once again, sorry. No, I have this thing about Irish, I guess. Sorry. And so Noah and Finn are guys who were best friends in Ireland, and they happened to meet one of the billionaires in Luck of the Billionaire, and then they were offered an opportunity to work at Wrecked Gaming for them while they attended school at Appalachian State. So anyway, I'm going to read a little bit from chapter 1. Once again, I can't do an Irish accent. Sorry. Chapter 1. "You'll not be trying to run away, you foul maggot," Noah Kelly hissed. "I'll see you dead." "Now don't you be letting the bosses get you talking like that," Finn Brennan growled as he shifted his computer mouse. At the same moment, he hit keys with his left hand. "There, I got him. You stole my kill." Noah shot a disgusted look at his best friend and fellow intern at Wrecked Gaming. "'Tis a lie, you—" "Language?" Sona Rafferty warned as she walked past them in the game section, which was part of the complex's cafeteria. "I didn't even say anything yet," Finn muttered. "Let's finish it." Since Noah's cousin and current supervisor Sona had returned, the lunch break must be almost over. 2 minutes Later, with a pentakill for Finn, they'd won the game. Penta 5. Noah stretched the kink out of his back. Being required to play the online battle arena game, Wrecked, was one advantage of employment. The lunchtime games often turned tense, but it was a different kind of stress from his usual day or work and classes at the university. It made for a nice change. You decided yet when you're going to come back to Ireland this summer? Noah asked. My dad got my ticket for August. Finn made a face. Not all of us can afford to have our family come visit us in America. Now don't you be digging at me like some of the other interns. Noah couldn't help his relationship to one of the company's founders. He was proud of it. Puffing out his chest, he grinned. You should be thanking me and my family connections for your job here. Bragging again, someone muttered as he brushed past. His shoulder hit Noah hard enough to send him off balance. By the time he'd straightened and scanned the room full of employees who were returning to work, he couldn't tell which one might have shoved him, and it had been a shove. Incidents like that were happening more often, and it was getting his Irish up. He glanced at Finn, who was furiously typing into his phone. Did you see that? Noah asked. Finn shook his head, his fingers flying. He did one final click and looked at Noah. What? Noah explained, rubbing his shoulder for emphasis. In a sympathetic gesture, Finn called the man a name in Gaelic. But I got my job on my own, Finn said, standing. You coming? Sona called from the elevator to the security section, where she helped handle the company's cybersecurity, her voice firm, but also with a hint of humor. Noah grabbed his backpack. She's looking to be on a mission. Finn shot him an I'm glad I'm not you glance. Now wary, Noah jogged to join his cousin in the elevator. Being related to the wife of one of the founders of the company, it turned out to be both a blessing and a curse. Sona and her husband had awarded him and Finn full scholarships to Appalachian State University through one of their charities and hired them both. They weren't interns in the traditional sense. That was just what Wrecked Gaming chose to call its part-time employees. Fortunately for Noah, the company didn't have a specific anti-nepotism policy, but the HR staff took care in overseeing how they applied it when employees were related, especially when one supervised another. That was probably why Sona had been extra strict with him. I need to talk with you before you get back to work, she said as they entered the cybersecurity station. Sure. Noah wiped his hands on his jeans, wondering what was up now. It'd been a challenge to work for Kane, and especially Sona, maybe because Noah knew them all so well. They seemed to expect more from him than the other interns, even Finn. Noah felt like he had to be more productive, more accurate, have a better attitude. Maybe it was him not wanting to disappoint them. He was grateful for the experiences they'd provided so far. Many interns moved on to other jobs, while others found permanent employment with the company, something Noah hoped for. He followed her into her office, surprised to find Joe Brooks already there. He was usually assigned as bodyguard to one of the company's founders when they traveled outside of Boone, North Carolina. Noah slowly sank into a chair. What did it mean? Don't worry, Joe said with a soft chuckle. You're not in trouble. Noah's shoulders relaxed a little, but he was unable to shake a sense of foreboding that he wasn't going to like whatever was coming. Sona had taken her seat at the desk. She leaned on her elbows and watched Noah. He couldn't help shifting uncomfortably under her scrutiny. It reminded him of when he'd been a mischievous boy and had to face his mother's wrath. Joe coughed, and Sona leaned back in her chair. Sorry, I'm just not sure how much to tell you, she said. Anyway, we're putting together a special assignment for some of our interns this summer. She paused, her expression thoughtful. Noah's pulse quickened in anticipation. Why would she be telling him this if she didn't mean to include him? But if that were the case, why was she hesitant about it? What? He finally asked. I keep debating how best to say this, and I'm not happy with any of them. I know there have been some grumblings about us being related, and some people say you get unfair advantages because we're cousins. And 'tis no one's business, Noah muttered. Well, it would be if you were given promotions or pay raises you haven't earned. Granny's favorite saying was how our perception controls our reality. Sona rubbed her temples. You should know the exec staff debated this for a week before making a decision. Noah's hands went cold. His excitement about a possible new assignment gone. Had they decided his family connection was a liability to the company? You're scaring him, Sona. Joe shook his head. Sorry, but I think you should know this, Noah. She came around the desk and took the chair beside him. I want you to understand you've impressed every department head you've worked under. A myriad of emotions flooded through Noah, from relief to excitement, finally settling on resigned. I'm hearing a but in there, he said. Something I'm betting has to do with you quoting Granny. Yes. We want you to help lead the team of interns for this special project. The lightness in Noah's chest at her words turned heavy at the memory of the troll who'd gone out of his way to shove Noah. And t'other interns would be saying I didn't earn it. He couldn't keep the bitterness from his voice. It's unfortunate, I know, Sona said. They debated with Oriana and HR about the pros and cons of giving you this assignment. Rafe finally said if you weren't related to me and Kane by marriage, there'd be no question about choosing you. The weight of letting them down settled on Noah. What if he disappointed them? What project, he asked, and when is it? I'll get to the assignment in a bit. We scheduled it for next week since Grandfather is coming for a visit the week after. Sona stood and went back to her desk. I don't need to tell you what a good reputation Wrecked Gaming has as an employer. You'll be preaching to the choir and you know it, he said. Exactly. But we won't keep that reputation unless we're constantly growing and changing, just like the group. Our various departments usually work well together. But in the last 6 months, we've had some personnel conflicts which are creating ongoing problems. Sona opened a folder on her desk. We've evaluated it with HR and believe it comes down to a need to rebuild employee trust in each other. Since we'd already been talking about developing team-building activities, we thought this would be a perfect time to put some into place. Rafe has been accepting proposals from companies that run business retreats. It made sense that Rafe, as the CEO, would be directing the project, but what did it have to do with Noah and the other interns? And why would Sona, one of Wrecked Gaming's cybersecurity people, be talking to him about a team-building assignment? Oh, I can tell by your expression you want more information. But I'm waiting until your co-lead can join us. She had to meet with HR first, so was running a few minutes late. Sona nodded toward the door. It looks like she's here now. Noah craned his neck to see better, but Joe had risen and gone to the door, blocking the view. Who is it? Noah asked. Caitlin Hahn, Joe said over his shoulder. A flash of pain stabbed through Noah's chest. With an internal groan, he slumped in his chair. And that ends that first scene. Now, I hope that you will enjoy this if you've picked up the box set, 21 clean romances. The price is currently 99 cents, but it's going up on Sunday, so this is your last chance to grab it at this great deal. So anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.